All right, we are live, and today I'm going to be covering the biggest lie in AI marketing. I'm going to talk about um, all sorts of things I've learned since the very beginning of getting into AI texting, even before GPT came out, um, all the way through what I see hurting people the very most right now. There are a lot of things that are perpetuated through ads and the marketing of AI marketing companies that I think are pretty harmful. Um, and I've got some good statistics and case studies to talk about to explain why they're true. And I'm going to open up by asking anybody in here to talk about some things that they see working really well for them with AI and things that they see not working well. And who knows, there may not be too much in the audience, but I'm going to open it up and give some people a chance to speak before I jump into mine. Does anybody have any experiences they want to talk about? Y'all can just come right off mute if you have anything. All right. So when I first got into it, I started doing AI texting, and the thing I'm going to talk about here first is how the regulations change. I got into AI texting with WooSender, integrating it into high level, and it wasn't but like a month or two after that before they eliminated some rules that made it where you couldn't really text like cold text as well as much as you could. I think they introduced A2P and some other things. And so a lot of times when you find those easy like loopholes, kind of, regulation is going to come right in and change it. And that happened again right after I got into AI voice. Like Air AI is basically selling us this AI voice promise that we can generate cold traffic, we can generate leads out of nothing for our clients. And it was not it was not a year before they made outbound AI calling without consent totally illegal. And so regulation is tends to come in right there and close those kinds of loopholes real quick. Um, Another thing I learned is I'd gotten to it way too early. A lot of times when an AI tech first comes out, it's not quite ready for it to be easily deliverable. And if you get into products too early, you can end up with a product that is not making clients happy. Um, for a lot of reasons, that has kind of caused me to pull into really using what's available on high level because it comes out at a delay. By the time it comes out, it's going to be quick and easy to set up, and your high level tends to protect you from regulations because they're protecting themselves. Like there's a lot of regulation on the way that their AI calling works. Um, so those are just some general things. I'd say the I'm going to go ahead and talk about the very biggest problem I see is companies saying that you can fully automate your sales. The ads will say an AI agent that books all your appointments on autopilot, and that's really what they advertise, that you're not going to have to call your leads. And sometimes I see people wanting to be agency owners, and they're coming in with the expectation that that's what they're going to be able to do for themselves and their clients. And I also see a lot of clients expecting that that's going to be the way it is for them. Um, and for the longest time, I'd say for the first 2 years of me having this agency, I would let people would just tell me they were going to call their leads, and I would kind of know that I'd look and see typically that was the problem with not getting enough appointments. In my experience, just from the texting, emailing, and AI calling, you'll maybe close like 1% of your deals, like 1% of total leads if you're running paid traffic. If you call them and don't do anything else, you'll close like 4%. And I always say that, but it wasn't until a month ago where I actually just started setting up appointment setters to call for my clients. And we had two clients that had both spent 3 grand in ads. One of them was doing funding ads and sending his traffic straight to a funnel for them to complete an application. And the other was doing annuities, and he called his leads a couple times, but not as heavily as I thought he was. And when we came back and looked, I saw what I believed to be the issue. And so what I did is I had my appointment setter call them, and where the annuity guy had only gotten, I think maybe one appointment, even though these leads were a month old, ads have been stopped a month before, close to it. We've now gotten eight in like a week or two just from calling the old leads. And then same story with the funding. He hadn't gotten any funding submissions, think he got two yesterday. And these again are a month old. And all leads are pretty much a situation where you want to call them right away because if they're interested in you, they're interested in other people that are also that they're also putting their information through their ads. So I really think that's the most dangerous lie in AI marketing is saying that it's going to replace your team. It's a little bit of extra assistance. Like I love it when I'm on a meeting and somebody texts to reschedule and the AI can handle that. But they're only doing that because I built the connection with them by calling them on the phone. I think the main thing is people don't respect the AI, and you really need to they need to respect you as a human enough just to be able to get in and um, be able to get them to tell you why they didn't go ahead and sign up on their own. When you're running ads, you don't know why they're not signing up unless you get them on the phone and even if they say not interested, you have to drill in and find out why. And I know it's so annoying. You've all had salespeople try to get you to tell why you're not interested. But unless they can figure that out, it's not just trying to get the sale. They have to figure that out to be able to know how to change the ad so that they don't get you in the system anymore. Um, I never had hired overseas appointment setters until I had. So I worked in call centers coming up, and then I started my solar company, and I had my friend calling in the US, and he wasn't hitting the dials. I'll tell you what, I was paying him probably 3 grand a month, and he was dialing like less than 30 times a day. I think one time I looked, it was like way less than that. And I'm so busy trying to run my business, I couldn't look over his shoulder the whole time. Well, eventually he started a little hustle doing credit repair on the side and decided he wanted to quit and do that. So I said, and this is around shortly after I had been cold called by a team in Egypt who offered to set for me. So I hired them, and the Egyptian setters were crushing it compared to him, and they cost way less. The thing is, when you pay them $1,000, that's like paying someone here 10 grand. It's a lot of money. And so it's much more motivating for them. And those simple appointment setting calls do not take deep industry knowledge. So, and eventually the crazy thing is the same guy that cold called me to set for me and my solar business ended up being my top solar closer in Egypt. So don't put it past them what they can do, especially when you got to realize how much more the compensation means to them. Um, so we ended up, for the credit repair business we had, we ended up getting to 60 appointment setters in the Philippines and 20 setters and closers in Egypt. So we had a big team, and I got really good at writing scripts because I've, rewritten them and rewritten them and rewritten them for our businesses after having deep experience working in some big call centers before I even started my own company. So for those two clients, the way that it works is I manage the appointment setter all in for a person for 40 hours a week, which is really what you need to call about 500 leads in a month. We charge 1,000, and that includes me managing them. Um, the way we do it, if it's a campaign that we haven't been running for a long time in that same industry, is we start with it just being a flat 1,000. We can guarantee you're going to get the 7 calls for each lead in that month in that time frame, and we do 2 calls back to back in a text. It's easy to write the script. I write the script for you, and then I do a video where I show you me booking a couple appointments in a very short period of time, which is really the proof you need so the appointment setters know it can be done and have a reference. And I've done it so many times now, it's not difficult. I don't know if we have Bob or I know the other guy's not on here, but Bob was on here earlier and he can tell you he's been getting lots of appointments. So now I'm rolling it out for all the clients, anyone who needs that. And you can do part-time. You can do 500 for 250 leads a month. And then there's times where I'll make an exception and even let them be less time than that. But you got to keep in mind, I have to write the script and train them up for each one. So it's kind of like it gets a little hard if it's too much less than 500. But I am flexible. Um, and anybody who's paying for ads, like it's going to make sense for you to have somebody else call the leads if you're getting any amount of lead volume because it takes so much time. And if you can replace 40 hours of work for yourself for $1,000, there's almost nobody on this call or whoever see this video where that wouldn't be a good move for them. And then ideally, you want it to be where your calendar is purely closes booked up the whole day. And once you know, it takes me one setter to get this many appointments a day, and he can handle this many leads, and this is what my cost per lead is. all you have to do is just adjust the numbers so that your calendar is full. And that usually gives you the revenue to where you're like, okay, now I can see if I had one other closer, I know how much he could make if he was full. And Jorge, 100% book another time. I'd love to get you helped out, man. It'll make a big difference. And then once I'm the way we do it, I guess there's one part I forgot. Once we start getting deals, so I do it, I will be aggressively involved until we get that first deal. And then once we have an idea of this is roughly how much you guys are making on a deal and how many appointments you had to get the deal, we know what our cost per deal is. You have to put in a bonus for closes. I don't do bonuses for appointment. I do bonuses for closes or maybe for qualified appointments if we have strict qualifications. But that way it aligns. If I'm running the ads and managing the person, and then not only he's incentivized on the close, but I am too. You've got somebody who's incentivized from top to bottom. I will be wanting to tweak the ads on my own to make it where we're getting more commission, and so will the salesperson. It means the salesperson is going to be giving us the feedback back, and they're going to be fighting to get the reason why the person's not interested. So, because they know that that's going to help me make the ads better and get more of the right people. And that's just the missing part. I wish Bob or Mark was on here to tell you guys how much of a difference it made. But I can tell you, if you don't call your leads, like I don't even know how you run ads profitably if you don't call them aggressively. I haven't ever seen it be done. The only way that you can ever get to where people are booking in automatically, it requires a few things. Um, First off, even if you're running a webinar, you need to call the leads too, so that you can figure out why these people aren't going to the webinar. Then you can tweak the ad so you're getting the right types of people to be able to who would book, right? So if you find out, hey, they're not the right age, you slap the age right on the top of the ad. And that way nobody comes through. And eventually they actually start booking. Well, guess why? It's not because your texts weren't good enough. It's because you're actually getting the right type of people and you figured out why they were the wrong type of people. And that doesn't happen if you don't call them. They're not going to text you and tell you why they didn't sign up or why they didn't book or respond to your texts. You got to rip it out. You got to get it out of them, unfortunately. So once you've really dialed, you know who's coming through the ad, that's when you can actually start telling the story. You know the person is coming, you know what you always have to tell them to close. That's when you start making content that addresses all of the points that they ever ask you. And that's where Meta's Andromeda comes in because you can actually put all those videos into your ads at that point, not changing the targeting, and you know now it's going to be able to help them uh, actually convert without you having to talk to them. And the only way you really get high traction like that, so now you got all the content there. Now it's about credibility. The guys that are closing on webinars that are telling you guys, hey, I'm closing this much on the webinar, it's because they're famous. They've got so much credibility and they see everybody buying. Everybody knows that they can do what they do because they're in front of you, right? Everybody knows their name. And so you have to work towards that. There's lots of ways to add credibility to your site that High Level can help with. You can do video testimonials, review requests, you can do speaking events. There's so many things that you need to do so that people believe you. And that's like right now, the reason I shifted my appointment setter off of my leads is because he called our leads aggressively and pretty much everyone that closes for me, they book right away. They come straight through and it's because I've been worked on the funnel long enough and the credibility for them to come through and book automatically. But I've never seen that happen in any other business I ever had or in any of my clients' businesses, really. So that is my 2 cents. And I feel like, oh, and in terms of how much you should call, I want to show you guys something. What is the average number of times you have to call Facebook leads? And this is different for every industry, B2B, B2C, but I'm going to go real general and just see what it says. I know the statistic that I heard back in the day. We've all heard, well, that's a different kind of statistic. But I know what I used to hear was like on average, you don't reach them until the seventh call on average. And that means like 7 different times, not just like 7 times back to back, or we always call 2 times back to back. So I'm not saying, 3 sessions. I'm saying 7 different occasions. Um, get them to answer. And answer, we already know like answer rate is usually no more than like 10-20% at best. So that tells you right there it's going to be around like 5-6 times before you can effectively work them. But let's see what it says. And like when I tell most business owners this, like I did call them, like how many times? And they're like, when they realize that you really need to call it 7 times, you realize how much work that is. You guys don't want to do that. And AI calling is not going to replace it. Promise you. Um, you have to use AI calling is going to get you an extra like 10% at most, like really 10% of appointments. You're going to get 80-90% from you calling. And that's why like on top of the automated messages, I'll make sure that it's a superhuman message. I'll be even like casual, like, hey, uh, still trying to get in touch with you from the ad. I'll say whatever. I kind of come up with it on the spot after my second call ends and they don't answer. Let's just ask this to go a little faster. And while we wait, like you guys are free to ask any questions or bring up any points you would think we should discuss too. And yeah, they don't answer calls or texts. Right, you're right. It's like the ones that respond, it just requires a massive amount of like working on that funnel to for credibility and so you know that the ads are getting you the right type of people. 3 to 8 calls plus before a live contact happens. On average, three. Okay. Well, that surprises me. But yeah, this is more what I used to hear. 6 to 8 times. Every call center I worked at, they required 7 times. That's been the number and I was working at the biggest digital marketing firm in the world. And so when I came in there and got to see like from the biggest company in the world how they ran their digital marketing agency and how they ran their call centers, that's that's why I see it the way I see it. But there are exceptions. You can have if you have really, really high quality text messages. We were talking about this earlier on the call. I may have already said it on this part. Really high quality content can help you break through that noise. But you got to realize they're getting these texts from everybody, and what you got to do something different in marketing. What people are not doing is calling. So yeah, that is that is what we're talking about. Now, of course, calling really quickly matters too, and that's where the AI can help because it can call right away. Especially if you're using, and technically you can, as long as they opted in for AI calling, you can even put at any time in your opt-in language to protect yourself, and you can call them right when they opt in. But it doesn't work much better than a text. A human call is going to be most effective. So, guys, that's all I got for you, unless there's some questions, and I'd be happy to answer any. But if there are none now, just shoot me a message back if you need any help with anything to the text that invited you here. And I will see you guys on Thursday is New Year's Day. I probably won't do a training New Year's Day. So, but it might, yeah, I probably won't. I think everybody's going to be off. So I'll be back next Tuesday. If you're a client who was planning on coming to that call or an affiliate and needed some help, you're this is the chance to grab a one-on-one with me. And I'll send out a message about that to everybody who's a client before then. The last update is if you're an old affiliate of mine who doesn't know, I've just updated it to where I give free done for you hours now every month with your high level subscription. So you're still direct to high level. You can upgrade, you can turn on AI employee, but for every 97 that you affiliate with me, high level is going to give me $38.80 commission and I'm going to give you guys an hour of done for you work every month. And that's the lowest. I don't go that low for done for you hours anywhere, but high level is residual. And so I know in the long run, I'm going to get you set off. You're going to be set up and not need anything within, several months of that. And you'll stick with the platform longer and I'll get the back end on that. So, that's what I'm doing, guys. If you have questions about that, send me a message and I will see you guys all on Tuesday. Thank you for coming, guys.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you, Lowell. Nice to meet you. Thank you, Mr.